So what should we conclude of both text Kant and Kant's text and Anderson's tale concerning the Nightingale, precisely, since I limit my speech to this small object? Well, the cage, the symbolic cage, or the conceptual cage in which the Nightingale was trapped is now a little larger than in the case of the romantic and later on late romantic symbolic bird. The cage is a little larger because it's not anymore just a melancholy lover or a lyrical voice, but it's still something that puts him in a very precise role and in a way jails him in this role. It's no longer a lover or a poet, but it's the spontaneous against the calculated, the natural against the artificial, the original against the imitated, the unique against the repeated, and the variable against the predictable. As far as our issues or my interests are concerned, it's also and mostly the lyrical against the mechanical. So, if you listen to a real Nightingale carefully, just one, now, of course you don't listen to the same bird whether you're in the 19th century or the 18th century, I think, or today. But if you listen carefully to any Nightingale song, these oppositions that I just listed no longer make much sense, because rigorously speaking, they're even irrelevant, since the Nightingale in his song is nothing but regularities and irregularities, constraint and joy, enjoyment, jouissance, I don't know how you say that, pleasure, jouissance, repetitions, copies, reproducible phrases, and variations. As another poem by Emmanuel Hocquard said, it's a fabrication of noise, a screeching machine. So this Nightingale, real little animal, is no longer a lyrical poet. The Nightingale is a small bird with a very powerful song, very melodious and very varied, varying song, but a song that is submitted to rhythmical and melodic rules. It is close to the solist, the piano solist Paul Badura-Skoda, who, playing Beethoven in the Memories of Emmanuel Hocquard in some of his poems, gave him this impression, I quote, "Piano without music." So this song, the Nightingale song, you can write it literally, like you can imitate a noise in a text, like you can write, for instance, the noise of a small boat in the Gibraltar Détroit in one poem as, I quote, "Tuff, tuff, 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 tuff." You can do that with the Nightingale. But this recent evolution of the Nightingale towards more literality, and consequentially the fact that the subspecies of the romantic English Nightingale became extinct, this had a sort of collateral damage. Reversely, the lyrical poet is no longer a Nightingale. The Nightingale poet is no more. In order to Nightingale, if it was a verb, to be and make fake a Nightingale, he would have to scream louder and louder. And this is something that you could call the Castafiore catastrophe of neo-romantic lyricism, of poésie, in French we would say pâteuse, which is kind of pun between pâteux in the sense of thick and too heavy, and also heavy with pathos, aesthetic or pâteuse poetry, poetizing poetry. Now I quote from a newspaper article. Traffic noise in cities is forcing nightingales to sing so loudly that their songs are technically breaking legal noise levels. Technically breaking legal noise levels. And in the same article, a nightingale at full volume could be illegal. Then, and with this question, then what kind of an animal is the lyrical poet today at the peak of neo-capitalism or neoliberalism? What kind of an animal could he be? Although I won't answer the question, I ask it because I'm convinced that poets like Emmanuel Hocquard are lyrical poets in the strict sense, in the sense at least that they occupy the same position as Propertius or John Keats or John Clare in the dispute that society has with its own language. There's a position that is still valid. But of course, he is a lyrical poet who hates the melodious or sweet complaint. He is a lyrical mechanic, we could say. So what kind of an animal is? I don't know. He could be a blackbird. Blackbirds are very popular among poets these days. I don't know. He could be a hedgehog, maybe. Yeah. He could be a panting carp on the ice of a supermarket. I've seen that. But anyway, we won't find a good symbol because for us, symbols are normal concepts really, but have become cliches. And therefore I will end by letting express itself the nightingale in the film, so that it has the last word. Oh, I forgot there's a text. I have to translate it. Okay, the fourth Nightingale is fabricated with recording of fast, high noises, like roulade, crescendo, murmurs, gloussement, like the metallic sound of the percussion of a stick on a long wire, tensed wire. Then it requires a clear translation of the song, of course, subtitles. And third, the image of any bird, really. Small body and big